Okay, hello everybody, hello students. Today we are going to continue with the grammar for Unit 1, Tech Time. But in this case, we're going to be looking at how to talk about actions that took place in the past, okay? Right, let's start with how to narrate past events, okay? How to speak about actions that took place in the past and that were completed, that had a beginning and an end. It can be either one action or many consecutive actions. Consecutive mean one after the other, like actions taking place in a series, okay? Let's read these two examples. Did you read any books last summer? Yes, I read The Northern Lights and Twilight, but I didn't like Twilight. Another example. What happened to you? I was running to get the bus when I stumbled and then I fell and hit the ground. Fortunately, I didn't hurt myself too badly, okay? So, if we look at these two examples, we are talking about actions that took place in the past, okay? And if we look at the reference frame, okay, the time we are speaking about in the past, we imagine like a timeline. That timeline has, the action has a beginning and an end in that point. You start the book and you finish reading it, okay? And you stumble, and that had a beginning and end, fell, beginning and end, and hit the ground, beginning and an end, okay? So that's the characteristic of the past simple, all right? In here, we have even some contrast when we have an action that is taking place, okay? And then while that action was taking place, we have several actions that are happening that have a beginning and an end. Okay, and now looking at the grammar of how to form the past simple, remember that for affirmative sentences, we have a specific and a special form of the verb to express the past simple. It can be either a regular verb that ends in ed, like stumbled, or it can be an irregular verb like fell, hit, or read, okay? And those, you have to know them by heart. You have to study them from a list and remember them as they are. And then for both interrogative and negative sentences, we use did as an auxiliary, okay? Did you read any books? I didn't like Twilight. I didn't hurt myself, okay? Remember that once you use the auxiliary, okay, the main verb comes in the base form, like in the present, because the auxiliary is already expressing the idea that we are in the past. So if we have did, the main verb goes in the base form. And in here, you can see we have some exception because with interrogative sentences that starts with W pronouns like what, who, where, when, etc., we sometimes we don't need to use the did. You can add it like what did happen to you for emphasis, but it's not necessary, okay? Let's remember the most important things about the past simple, that in the affirmative sentences we have to use a specific form for the past simple that can be either regular ending in ed or an irregular verb that you need to know by heart. You have to remember it from a list, okay? And then we use did as an auxiliary for negative and interrogative sentences, and then remember that the main verb then goes in the base form, not in the past form, okay? Now you have these two questions. You have to reply them in a document and then upload it into the virtual room, okay, in the space provided for that. You can pause the video for as long as you need to. And now let's gonna look at the last piece of grammar for this unit 1, that is describing past situations, okay, in this case referring to actions that are in progress in the past, or describing a scene, like a scene that is taking place, all right? What do we mean with in progress? Before, we've been talking about actions that had a beginning and an end, okay? In this case, these actions won't have a clear beginning or a clear end. They are taking place if we took that point of reference, that time of reference in the past, like a timeline, this action is taking place for the whole duration, for the whole timeline of that past moment that we are referring to. An example, were you watching Game of Thrones yesterday? No, the internet wasn't working in my house yesterday. My mom was trying to fix it, but there was a problem in the whole neighborhood, right? Another example, what were the criminals doing? They were running away from the police, but their cars weren't going as fast as the police cars. Okay? So, as we can see, these actions don't have a clear beginning or a clear end. They are taking place during the whole time that we are referring to in the past. Okay? And regarding how to form the past continuous grammatically, remember that it's very similar to the present continuous. We use a verb and then we add the ing form, but we use the verb to be in the past as an auxiliary. Okay, so were for plural and was for singular. Okay, they were running away. My mom was trying to fix it. Okay. And then remember that for negative and interrogative sentences, again, we use the verb to be in the past, was or were, or wasn't or weren't. Okay, I think this is clear. Let's remember the most important bits, that basically the auxiliary is the verb to be, was or were, and then we have to add ing to the main form. If you don't remember the rules of how to form the ing form, you can look it up or you can ask me. Okay, there are some rules depending on the verb. If the verb has one or two syllables, long or short syllables, if it ends in I or Y, etc. All right. And now here you have the last two questions for the virtual room tasks. And remember that the grammar for Unit 1 in your student book is in pages 116 and 117. You can look it up if you have any doubts. Basically, it's the same information that I have given you, presented in a different way, but it may be useful to look at it anyway. So thanks for watching the video, and I see you in the next lesson.